Hello, I'm Simon Wallace. I'm one of the committee members of the Consultancy Specialist group at BCS. If you've got your Zoom in the mode where you can see other people at the moment, you'll also be able to see the chair, who is Alan Moore, and another committee member who is Antonio Hidalgo. And Antonio is responsible for monitoring your questions and comments via the chat system. So today we have Being a Consultant, which is David Lightfoot. I'm not going to do long introductions for the speakers. They will undoubtedly say a bit about themselves. David is the Chief Operating Officer of Fusion Global Business Services. He's an IT professional with 40 years experience across various senior management and operational management roles. He's worked in lots of countries, and I'm sure he'll tell you a little bit about himself as he kicks off. But for now, let me hand over and start the proceedings proper. David.
Thank you, Simon. Good evening, everyone. So what is a consultant? What it is to be a consultant? Simon mentioned myself, yes, 40 years in IT, various different management positions. I've worked in numerous countries, primarily service management and operational wide. If we do touch on what Fusion do, I do, it's really in the context of being a consultant. So just a very quick one to set the scene. That's who Fusion Global Business Services are. So over a year, we have 150 projects, 100 support contracts and 30 managed services. And our consultants, which is relevant, I think, to everyone on the call, in various locations. And we do run with 35% contractors or consultants as well. So some of the things I say, I think are very, very valid. So what does it mean to be a consultant? So the first one's really a picture. Why is this picture of a consultant and customer perfect? So if people want to put something into a chat, then I can explain. And moving on. So primarily, it says answering chat please is actually because it's seamless, because you cannot work out who is the consultant and who is the customer. And that's where you really want to be as a consultant. Total level of empathy and understanding, both totally comfortable with each other. And this is the best place for a consultant to be, because it means that you can iron out any issues when they occur. Things like trust are already there. So if ever you get in that scenario, you know you're doing a very good role. In terms of what it can be to be a consultant, second slide of 3, it's all the right words. You know, one is very important, the image you wish to portray as a consultant and how you want to come across. And you'll base that on your experience and maybe what you've seen. But there's also the image that people expect. You know, we all know in walks of life, when we go and see a consultant, you're going to someone that's high end, you're going to that expert, and there is already a level, as it said down there, built-in trust, and that person can fix whatever your issue is. You know, so things sit in there which we all strive to be, you know, honest, ownership of a problem, that you're direct, you're knowledgeable. You know, your whole career will be built on reputation and the last few contracts and assignments you've had. You know, you're reliable, very good communicator, you know, and you care, you empathy with a customer. You know, some people we do work for will not be at the same level as others. Some will be experts in their own field, some will not be, and it's, you have to follow that right balance. And that comes with experience, and also probably the best thing we have in terms of communication is listening to see the environment you're in. And it's all down to you. Very important. And I'd say the other thing is there, which is underlined, which is, you know, it's do the right thing. You know, the difference with a consultant is you're not part of someone's company. They called you in. They don't, in a way, wish to pay for you, but they need you. And so therefore it's very important that you maintain your standard, and those tricky situations, you know, you provide that feedback to enable the person you're working from and the customer you're working from to make the right decision. So it's tough sometimes, because if you come from an environment where you're a permanent employee, there's a level of understanding of where you fit in within an infrastructure and the hierarchy of a company. When you're working as a consultant, you have to pick up on those vibes very, very quickly, but shouldn't detract from the fact of why you're there. You know, and experience will tell me a number of consultants that I've worked in, you know, getting feedback from them, I can work with the facts and the honesty. What I don't want is someone to come in and maybe tell me what I already know or what I want to hear. It won't fix anything. What does it mean to be a consultant? Well, the main difference is, I looked up various differences, is they consult. You know, they're the expert, the opinion. You know, it's advice or direct training in their field of knowledge. It's not a generalist. It's someone that really understands it. You know, and I know we talk BCS and we're talking IT. That's the same for anyone we go to. You know, we've all had the scenario of, you know, going for medical help with a doctor. You go to a general practitioner and you get an overview. If things are really tricky, you always go to the consultant. And the moment that happens, your whole feeling changes, and it's exactly the same in terms of what we do. You know, and it says there, consultant is brought in to help the company grow or learn and provide that expert opinion. You know, and in a way you use that to your advantage, because that company doesn't expect you to get involved in the politics. It expects you to be all the things we mentioned on the first slide about being honest. And in some cases you can use that to your advantage, because you're not tied to any hierarchy in a company, which some people are, and that's the advantage. You know, and they're classed as being well experienced, you know, and they come to solutions quickly and they save time for the client. Sometimes calling a consultant in at the right time for the right period of time fixes things quite far quicker. You know, and you will find as careers grow and you develop more, as your confidence grows, you'll realise that, and you can, and it'll work to your advantage. And of course, the biggest plus for anyone is you get asked back. And for that to be a consultant means you've set exactly the right tone with the person you're working for. And I put down there, you know, you can do it. Yes, you can do it if you take your time and you learn from others and you learn from the experience of what you're going through. Even me, it's that, you know, I could turn around and be smug and say, you know, I have a great team of people and, you know, lots of experience and things like that. You know, but I have seen over the last 12 months with the organisation I work with, you know, we have called consultants in when we have major requests for information bids, because that's a unique skill for someone to actually pinpoint exactly what's needed. You know, there's technical skills to complement the team we already have, specific skills. I've seen consultants pulled in for HR changes and specific IT marketing challenges, and that's not derogatory towards the people we work in. It's the fact that you're pulling in someone that's concentrated years of experience and is developing in an area to a far greater depth than the people you have. And two things stood out. And the biggest word was trust. Within a very short space of time with people coming in, you trust what they say, because they've kept their word and they've not shirked from the problems, and they've been perfectly honest. And the moment that's there, the whole thing starts to fly, because they are referenced in meetings, reports are referenced, there's very good points of reference, and their word becomes very key in any delivery. Your role, your progression. Now you could be a helper, You could be seen just as a short-term body to complement the work of a team. You could be the advisor, the voice of experience, provide clarity, or you could be a troubleshooter. You know, this is your role in your career. And the important thing there, I think, is for tomorrow, it's where you want to be. You know, you can just be a short-term body. You know, you can be the voice of experience, or you can just be the troubleshooter, or you can mix and match. But it's very much how you position yourself. And then maybe at times, depending on the assignment and the work you pick up, that may change. You know, a larger project, you may actually be a helper as part of a learning curve. A smaller project, you could actually be the main advisor. So you have to be ready to flip between one or the others. There is nothing more annoying for an employer or someone that uses consultants that they're not able to bend and fit the different roles. Because otherwise it becomes too rigid. You know, if you have a problem, you want to talk to an expert, but sometimes it's at different levels. And the reason I raise this is because it's your career, it's your progression. And we all start at everything at a lower level and progress. It is even possible that you change from one to another as a longer term move, or you find a level that you're not comfortable with. You know, I know a lot of consultants as project managers, very good in unique projects. They have moved on to program management, where they have a number of project managers reporting into them, and they're not comfortable with it. It's not what they enjoy, and if they don't enjoy it, they won't see success. You know, and really what I'm saying in there is, you know, I suggest you can stop for a period of time as you progress. You can stop and check. You know, I suggest you can change your level. You need to be able to flip between it. And you can learn new skills in a new area. You know, when I started in consultancy, I was doing checkpoint firewalls, checkpoint 4.1, not something that's needed today. So therefore I had to adapt. But the one thing you can't do is stand still. Very, very few consultants can consistently do the same thing in the same way as a career without learning new rules, new regulations, new technical IT ways of working, or taking in the bigger environment that changes around IT, which has been massive because people get left behind. So it's a case of, you know, adapt and learn, and that never ends. And when it says learn new skills, as we understand consultants, in a lot of cases, we're funding that learning curve. No one's going to fund it for us. And there's lots of things that can be read. There's lots of very cheap and very reasonable and very good courses you can learn. Things on Udemy at the moment. There's some very good things on there. And the more you keep up to date, the better. One of the final ones is, you know, obviously how you're enumerated. Obviously a discussion from someone that uses consultants. Always amazes me at times where you talk to someone about a rate and what they're doing. Now, normally from where I sit, I have a problem and I need help. So I need the person. The last thing I discuss is a rate. But when someone says, I'm not currently employed, I'm available now, and this is my rate, and they stick by that, I find it somewhat confusing that people do not have the ability to maybe work out and negotiate on a rate. It's not to say whether it's fair or reasonable, but if someone just says, well, that's my rate, then the whole context of the conversation goes to finance as opposed to fixing my problem. And I said it's based on many factors in terms of what's there. Market trend, market skills, because things change. An awful lot at the moment on security, an awful lot at the moment around service design and service transition, consultancy skills where people want to make the most from their investment because budgets are tight and investing in new. Business area, you know, government work, private work, financial work will all offer different levels of remuneration, and you have to be prepared for that. Some people work very successfully in the private sector. Probably some people in the finance sector could be well rewarded, and those type of roles come with, in some cases, greater pressure. urgency. If there's a real problem and it's technically involved, it needs to be fixed. So the level and the cost of you coming in is rather forgotten to fix the problem. Reputation, if you've been used before, if you have a name in the industry, if you go on LinkedIn, and I suggest you use that, you've got very good references. It stands out in terms of what's there. Availability. If push comes to shove and something needs to be done, if you're available now, you could get ahead of the game. So always make sure you have your work planned, always make sure you know what you've got coming up and when free slots will be. And within reason, you know, if you're doing a level of work, if it's not full time, do you have time to help someone else? And always think ahead towards the next item you're going to be working on. You know, sometimes in consultancy it gets volatile in terms of contract durations and things. So always be aware of when you're free, when you're not free, because it's not just about your availability, it's what a customer may need. When you're contacted, if you're uncertain on when, you know, do you have holiday coming up? Are there private things coming up? If that's not clear, it's confusing for the customer. Client T's and C's. Number of people I've done work for, and a number of people and companies will have T's and C's which actually dictate what a consultant can and cannot do, the rates they can get paid, and in some cases you have to work within that, or you choose not to work in that environment. The other side, two things. You're only worth what someone's prepared to pay. There's absolutely no point in digging your heels in on a rate. It could get down to the fact that you're the right person at the right time, and any of those constraints can change the rate that's paid. So there's no point saying I always get that rate. It won't work. And I would say, as people are learning, remuneration may not always be financial. It could be a piece of work that's slightly different to what you've done before, maybe at a different level. And I'd refer to it as a stretch project, that it's not what you've done before, but you're going to benefit from it. So maybe doing something is not always about the money. It's about positioning yourself for the future. And sometimes it's worth that investment because, you know, as a consultant, it could be one of those things where you drop a level, you become a helper, but you're learning a new skill, developing, which is going to benefit you going forward. And it says there, you know, it's all class and experience, skills, needs and wants. Who needs you at any one point in time. Remuneration works differently depending on whether you're employed or consultants. It's all different. You know, sometimes it's salary, expenses, bonus, or you're freelance where you're paid and agreed fees. It's very, very different. And I think it's important as you're joining as a consultant, you work out what you're comfortable with. And maybe, you know, you could start a certain way and change. You could go as a sole trader. You could go as a contractor with your own company, or you go under umbrella company, or work for a consultancy. It's not set in stone, and I know people that have switched between the three, and then they've ended up with something they're comfortable with. And I go back to that point, comfortable with and people enjoy. I think it's the key point. It's a key point for anyone in work, but especially as you're a consultant. If you're comfortable and you're happy with the field you're in, that will come across. It will come across, and you will learn more, and you will be more relaxed, and you'll benefit from it. Some people in companies, permanently employed, they're restricted in that some way. You don't have that as a consultant, and you know, nothing's for life with a consultancy. You're there for a period of time, which can also be seen as a plus. I think that's my last slide. I see a number of comments coming through.
Hi, David. We have Antonio here. We have one main comment from Juliet, and we had few comments before on when you asked the question regarding the two, the consultant and the advisor and the customer. The question from Juliet is, what kind of courses do we recommend?
So, in terms of Udemy, which is picking up a lot of pace, I know software providers are now using this for some of their training. What I've found is there is some very good courses on there around process. There's a lot in there now around test papers. I mean, there's things around ITIL, there's things around performance, around OKRs, that look very, very good basis. I've done 2 or 3 myself, and considering there's an investment for more formal training where you might want the correct certification at the end, I think for the money and the value you get from it, for any of the courses on there, they're well worth doing because they're very good preparation. So where I am at the moment, there are some people doing a level of ITIL foundation testing because they want to do the formal courses and the exams. The investment in the background training on that is £20–25 a person. But the return they will get, the return the business gets beyond that will be far greater. So you can go on their search, looking within your field and see what's there. And you can see who else has done it, and you can see a level of feedback. In some cases, you can contact the creator of the course and get a level of verification to make sure it covers off what you need.
Thank you. I think that Simon had another comment. Simon M. Yeah, so let me read. I will read the question.
Okay.
Could a couple of examples be described in of the variety of work content of different days that your various consulting roles have involved, please?
Yes. One of the consulting roles I had was a company had issues with their levels of maturity around service management processes and operational controls. So this was around undertaking assessment against incident management, problem management, change management procedures, and also their operational running of those. So this was to the depth of looking what was written down, looking at the adherence, and seeing the benefit they were getting from it. So I have done that type of thing for a finance insurance company in the north of England, which then enabled them to create budget for the new year on how they wish to change their service management platform. I have been involved, but this was really something that grew up operational experience with Salesforce. So I was asked to go into an organisation and look at technically creating a global Salesforce view when they had regional Salesforce entities. So there was a UK, North America, European Salesforce, but they wanted a global view for key sales. So that was very interesting, working with the people from the various geographies. But I think I was lucky to get that, because that was based more on my operational experience, but that's really what they needed.
I think it's a really interesting question, not just for David, but for everyone. Let's just take a moment, without giving away anything confidential or preferably naming clients. Everyone put into chat 1 or 2 things which they really enjoy doing as a consultant. What do you like to boast a bit about? What were your favorite consulting things to do? But nothing confidential, and best not to mention the client. I'm going to put some in. Come on, everyone, get typing. You've got 60 seconds. David did the Football Association, is that?
Yeah, I did a small piece of work for them. I liked it. I forgot all about the rate and everything. I was just absorbed by the whole thing. I suppose reverse Simon is what people have done they didn't enjoy.
Oh, I'm not sure it's fair to ask people to say that. Oh, yeah. I don't even want to think about it myself. I do like Gary's one of ripping back officers out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the fun of doing that.
I personally saw on there the thing of meeting new people and thing. I think that if you don't like that as a consultant, you might have a problem.
I don't see your favourite one, Alan. What was your favourite?
So I just made the point that it's, for me, it's when there's a situation where people have got ideas but they're not convinced to do the work and the workshops to get them from idea to action is quite satisfying.
Well, I hope everyone's able to glance up and down the list. I don't want to. I don't want to read out everything there. But it's a splendid list of fun. I have to say, life as a consultant has mostly been fun, but it does also have a lot of stress involved in it at times you don't know you're having fun until you've finished. Anybody else like to make a comment or observation? You can put your hand up on the system if you'd like to speak directly to us, or drop a comment into the chat. Well, I don't see anything coming up. Apologies if I missed someone. The clock has ticked past the hour, so we should probably move on to our next speaker.